Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Friday evening, June 21, 2024. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video. I'd really appreciate it if you guys get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more weather lovers or rain lovers just like you guys, so that we can build this weather community in time for the peak of Atlantic hurricane season, that's August through to October, so that we can keep everyone safe. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Leave a comment down below letting me know what the has been like here recently. Also feel free to ask any other related question that you might have about the future other than your specific area. Alright, so let us take a look at this tweet from Eric Webb. He's actually a meteorologist and he posts from time to time about the Atlantic hurricane season, and these posts are very much accurate. So he stated here, "I'm not sure or doubtful anything will come of this, but I'm certainly slightly intrigued about how active the Central Tropical Atlantic Intertropical Convergence Zone is going to be in a few days, as an MJO and EQ Rossby wave pass overhead." And these are the images that he's referring to. So he highlighted the fact that attached to the Intertropical Convergence Zone, we know the Intertropical Convergence Zone is right here across the southern portion of the main development region. It is actually where all of the air from the northern hemisphere meets the air from the southern hemisphere, and then we usually have that thunderstorm activity forming along that line. As usual, we have a lot of thunderstorms down there, as we can see here on the visible satellite images, and some of these have to do with some amount of tropical waves, and he's highlighting this energy right here on the CMC model. This is the Canadian model, the GEM. He's highlighting this energy, and he's also highlighting the fact that it could possibly develop as it pushes westward to affect sections of the Caribbean. And it's not only that model, but even the GFS model showing the same thing. And what is the time period for this? 72 hours out. That's about 1 a.m. on Monday. So something could be approaching the island, and he made mention that this is happening because of an MJO and EQ Rossby wave. So more than likely all of this has to do with some amount of upward motion, rising air favorability in the near future, and we can see all of this being represented here. So let us take a look. So first things first, we're going to be looking at the next couple of days. So we're looking at the time period from about, let's say, the 22nd to the 30th of June, considering that today is the 21st. So we can see here, this map is showing all the greens that represent rising air, and we see the time period attached to these maps. So June 9, June 11, but we're looking at the future now. So this is as of right now, June 21 to June 23. Don't see much happening at all, but look at June 24 to June 26. We start to see more rising air as represented by the greens, as we can see by the key on the bottom. So we might get in on more of that taking place, making way for more of that, you know, robust tropical activity across the main development region, right in the spot that we saw the model is showing something developing to the east of the island. And even around June 27 to June 29, we even see that air darkening even more, getting even more robust, and we can see all of what is represented by the key on the bottom, the blacks representing the MJO, the blues representing the Kelvin wave, and a lot of other meteorological entities. Either way, is setting up a stage for some bad weather, and Eric is not the only person who highlighted this. Even the founder of tropicaltidbits.com that many of us weather nerds use throughout the day, he made a video today highlighting and talking about Invest 92L of the southeastern United States. Because we know that system the Hurricane Center has been watching still hasn't gotten a name as yet. Doesn't seem like it's going to be happening. And he also highlighted that area across Central America that's going to be heading into the same spot that Alberto was developed in. So he's stating that something is definitely going to be happening across those areas. But he also highlighted what Eric was highlighting in the Central Caribbean. And he did a very good job at explaining why it's going to be possibly developing, especially when it gets closer into the Central Caribbean near Jamaica. He definitely mentioned Jamaica. Sometime next week, we're definitely going to be affected by that strong tropical wave that has a chance of development. Either way, I definitely recommend that you go over and watch his YouTube video. He is one of the persons that you need to ensure that you're subscribed to. I'm definitely subscribed to him. I've been subscribed to him for many years now, even before he actually became a meteorologist. His videos are very much accurate. So I definitely recommend that you check out his video highlighting the facts. If we take a look back at the U.S. National Hurricane Center 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook, we can still see that system right there of the southeastern United States coast still has a 60% chance of formation, but it's definitely running out of time. It doesn't have any more water to work with as it's about to affect sections of the southeastern United States. And we see that that area that was across Central America has now pushed up towards the west, and it's definitely going to be over water now, so the chances of it actually developing increases. We'll see exactly what unfolds. We'll see if we actually get the name Beryl or Chris anytime soon. Either way, we're already ahead of schedule with the first name, Alberto. We'll see if we actually exhaust all the names on the list for this year. If we actually take a look at the supercomputer models regarding that tropical wave, so we're just going to be going out to the next 168 hours, as we can see here by the key, well, that timestamp on the top. So we're going to be looking at the Euro model, and we're going to be looking at this area right here, and then maybe possibly over here into the Caribbean. So as we see, we have a lot of moisture coming in from the east, and we can see that it's definitely making its way to the west to affect sections of the central and western Caribbean. So we're going to be stopping right there at the next 168 hours. That's on the Euro. So we definitely see that something came in. Nothing organized, nothing too ridiculous, but we definitely saw the greens that represent somewhat of a rainfall increase across portions of the eastern to the central and western Caribbean. What does the GFS model show for the same time period? So let us go out to the next 168 hours. And we already see this system on the GFS even at 114 hours out. This is next week Wednesday, and we see it right here. And well, who knows, maybe it's another tropical wave. Either way, we see a lot of dark greens, even some yellows in there, definitely across sections of Jamaica. Then by the end of 168 hours, we see that it is right there off to the west of the island. Sometimes these models show something and then they correct themselves later on, highlighting that it was more, I don't know, possibly developed than it actually is forecasted to be. So it's just a waiting game at this point. Who knows, maybe this weekend or next week the Hurricane Center might put a code yellow across the main development region or the Caribbean. It's just a waiting game at this point, and with these very warm sea surface temperatures, nothing is impossible this year at all. Alright, so let's just take a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening. We can see that we still have the ridges of high pressure across the northern portions of North Atlantic that we know are responsible for sending all of the easterly trade winds across the main development region into the Caribbean. And with these easterly trade winds, we know they're sending a lot of dust from off of Africa, not to mention all of these tropical waves from east to west, all of these pushing from east to west. One right here across the southeastern Caribbean, another one right here to the east of the southeastern Caribbean, another one equidistant from Africa and the Caribbean, and another one right here off the west coast of Africa. And all of them are embedded in the intertropical convergence zone, and we can see all of that even better if we take a look back at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic. First of all, we can see a lot of clouds pushing from east to west, a lot of low-level flow associated with some clouds across portions of the northern Caribbean, so definitely anywhere from Puerto Rico westward, the Dominican Republic, section of Jamaica. We definitely got in on some of the action today. All of this associated with numerous troughs, entangled with some tropical waves, heading into the Central American gyre. The Central American gyre is actually getting ready to wrap up all of what it's been doing. More than likely, as soon as whatever forms out of it is done with, we're definitely going to be over with all of this bad weather across Central America. So they're definitely going to be getting in on a break. You can also see a lot of clouds, showers, and thunderstorms across sections of Northern South America. As usual, that's nothing new. And the clouds associated with the intertropical convergence zone, as well as the numerous tropical waves. We'll be talking more about the Caribbean weather later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Friday, June 21. It was stated that we would have received some night rainfall across sections of the island on Thursday. We definitely had that, especially across the eastern portion of the island. And we also stated that we would have had some morning rainfall across eastern Jamaica on Friday, as well as some rainfall across sections of some northern and western parishes during Friday afternoon. And just for reference, we know eastern parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Surrey. So Portland, St. Thomas, Kingston, St. Andrew. Western parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Cornwall. So St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James, Trelawney. While northern parishes, we're talking about those parishes on the top side of the island. So Hanover, St. James, sections of Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland. And what ended up happening? As early as 10:45 a.m., we definitely made a post on our Twitter page at Weather Jamaica. Keep in mind that these posts aren't only made on our Twitter page, but on our Instagram page at weather.jamaica, on our TikTok page at Weather Jamaica, and on our Facebook page at Weather Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there, as we make posts throughout the day that you can't afford to miss, posts that we don't make here on our YouTube page. So we definitely saw on the infrared, the visible satellite images, that we had some clouds coming in from the east. Definitely brought some rainfall to sections of St. Thomas and Portland, and then some of that definitely made its way into portions of Kingston and St. Andrew. Even sections of St. Catherine got some of that, and we have confirmation from some of our followers on our Instagram page. The Humble Chick posting 5 hours ago, lovely rain. __ Tony.21 stating rain in Portmore. And even if we check on the live camera from See Jamaica's YouTube channel, if you don't know by now, we have a partnership with that channel. They actually show live streams of the corporate area halfway through the Kingston Harbor Crossroads, and right now we're looking at the Crossroads cam, and we're looking at the time period from 11:39 a.m. today. And we saw that section of Kingston were definitely getting in on some moderate to heavy rainfall. We can see the air right there blanketed in white as we take a look here, curving around in Crossroad. Definitely wet weather, and we were definitely indeed grateful for that rainfall today. Definitely saw that it was, cooling down the temperatures. Cars moving by with their windshield wipers on, some persons walking with or without umbrellas. Either way, I'm sure we were all grateful for the cool down today, and I'm sure that we would like some more of that to continue to keep these temperatures down. If we take a look at the post that was made during the afternoon, now we saw that whatever took place in the east definitely pushed off to the west, especially across the northern and western side of the island. So at 2:15 p.m., a post was made highlighting the thunderstorm activity across sections of some northern parishes. So definitely sections of St. Anne, Trelawney, St. James, sections of Hanover and Westmoreland got in on some of the bad weather, especially section of St. James. Look at that huge thunderstorm burst. See those high cold cloud tops in the blacks, even some purples in there. Not to mention the amount of sparkling white dots that indicate lightning strikes, if not lightning flashes. So that was some definite dangerous situation. Who knows, they might even had gotten in on that bad weather again, just like yesterday with the freak storm. And I hope that they actually battened it down this time to prevent a repeat of that. And if there was flooding, they actually turn around so that they didn't have to drown, And we have confirmation on our Twitter page. Nikisha spent. We're getting it in Mobe. That was 4 hours ago. Even on our Instagram page, we had Lois_C_Reed stating Mobe is washing away. Sexiana, Thunderstorm, Sandy Bay, Hanover. Tweety_Mo, hard rain in Mobe. Thunder breeze, heavy little thing, thankful. Gregory Foster, raining like crazy in Hanover. So that definitely confirms the bad weather for especially sections of St. James and Hanover today. But we definitely saw that section of the other northern parishes gotten on some of that. Section of St. Anne, Trelawney definitely gotten on the thunderstorm. Section of Portland especially. So that does indeed confirm what was predicted. If we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Jamaica era before the sun started to go down, we can see that we still have some clouds across sections of, especially some western parishes, some eastern parishes, but more of this has to do with some very high level clouds, so nothing significant actually taking place right now. And we can see it all even better in the infrared satellite images, showing the high cold cloud tops, especially across the west. Still having some reds across those areas. Nothing significant, no bad weather at all. More than likely some drops of drizzle are due than anything else. And we can see it all even better on the Cuban Doppler radar images right here. Hopefully the Jamaican Doppler radar is fixed soon. But we can see that for the most part all of the bad weather has now dissipated, with more of that rainfall off to the west of the island. What we're seeing here across the northern portion of the island with those greens, yellows, reds, all of that is what we call ground clutter. That's actually a glitch on the Cuban Doppler radar. It's not actually happening at all, especially given what we just saw on the satellite images, that it is actually clearing up as we speak. All of what we're seeing now is some high level clouds. Either way, even if we take a look at the accumulated precipitation for the past 24 hours from the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology website, although this map isn't 100% to scale, it does paint a picture of where we had the rainfall today. Definitely across sections of St. Thomas, Portland, Kingston, St. Andrew, as well as sections of some northern parishes. So definitely a section of St. Anne, Trelawney, Portland, sections of St. James, Hanover, and Westmoreland got in on most of the rainfall today. If we take a look at the temperatures right now, we can see about 28 degrees Celsius in both Montego Bay and Kingston, and we're indeed grateful for that. Not hot today at all. And the temperature forecast for 4 a.m. on Saturday has the temperatures in Montego Bay dipping down to about 26 degrees Celsius, temperatures in Kingston dipping down to about 25 degrees Celsius. But as it relates to the temperature forecast for tomorrow, this map from the GFS is showing 18Z on Saturday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Saturday, and we see that the Jamaica area is embedded in some yellows, some slight oranges that maybe represent anywhere from 1 to maybe up to 2 degrees Celsius above normal temperatures. So the warm temperatures are going to return, unfortunately. And we know the average or the normal temperatures for the month of June across Jamaica are about 90 degrees Fahrenheit. When we take a look at the thermometer, 90 degrees Fahrenheit is about the same as 32.2 degrees Celsius. So we should be receiving anywhere from 32 to 34 degrees Celsius at most for Jamaica's temperature on a Saturday. As it relates to the dry air map, we know the dry air is represented by what we see on the key on the bottom, the yellows, the oranges, the reds, and the whites within those reds. And we do see a lot of dry air across the northern section of North Atlantic, across portion of the main development region, into portion of the central and eastern Caribbean, especially right there off the coast of Africa, where we see those reds, lots of dry air right there. Some of it definitely making its way into portion of the Caribbean. We don't like to see the dry air. We know the dry air definitely chokes off the rainfall. We like to see more of these blues and whites that we're seeing. We know all of that has to do with moist air, which explains all the thunderstorms that we've been receiving recently. We'd rather more of that to cool down the temperatures with all of the rainfall than the dry air. The dry air was for April and May. Let's keep it there, not in June or July. As it relates to what the Saharan dust forecast is showing for 2 p.m. on Saturday, we definitely see all the browns that represent the Saharan dust stretching all the way from Africa across the main development region into portions of the Caribbean. And we see all of the most vigorous plume as represented by these darker browns across the area closer to Africa. That's what we don't want to see at all. That darker shade of brown that can cause a lot of hazy skies, not to mention trigger some amount of asthmatic conditions or sinusitis conditions in some persons. We don't want that at all. Jamaica should be right here for 2 p.m. on Saturday, definitely in the clear. As it relates to the wave forecast for tomorrow, we can see that both the Euro and the GFS malls are showing more so in the way of blues surrounding the island. We can see by the key on the bottom right, the blues are representative of anywhere from 1 to 1.5 meter wave height, and that's because the winds are going to be coming in from the east, averaging anywhere from 15 to 20 knots, as we can see by the greenish colors. And we also see that the air is definitely going to be piling up again across sections of some central and western parishes in Jamaica. So more so central and western than northern and western, so we're indeed grateful for that. And with the upper level winds coming in from the north for tomorrow, definitely could favor more of the overcast skies again for sections of some southern parishes during the afternoon. So something similar to what we had today. We saw that when we had the thunderstorms developing across the north, most of the high cold cloud tops were being blown off towards the south than anything else, bringing more overcast skies to sections of, especially sections of Manchester, Clarendon, Westmoreland than anything else, with more of the rainfall across the northern portions. We know wherever we see the sparkling white, that's where more of the thunderstorm and rainfall activity is taking place. While anywhere we're not seeing it, more than likely it's just overcast conditions. So definitely more overcast skies for section of the south. But with the winds in the lower levels seeming to be forecast for more central and western parishes, we can rule out some of this rainfall actually making its way into sections of some southern parishes as well. And if we actually take a look at the 1 hour total forecast maps, these maps are why we're here. We'd like to see where it's going to be raining and at what time. So we can see that the Euro model has for 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 9 a.m. Jamaica time, some blues that represent rainfall. And where do we see the consensus that both maps are showing for the rainfall across the island? Across eastern Jamaica again. So definitely a section of St. Thomas, Portland getting in on some of that rainfall. The Euro has more of the rainfall coming into section of central Jamaica. We'll see exactly what unfolds. We'll see which one of them actually wins, but I'm more inclined to believe what both of them are showing at that time period. So we're going to be working with the agreement. So eastern Jamaica, and then by around 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 2 p.m. Jamaica time, we start to see more of the blues that represent rainfall where across sections of some central and western parishes in Jamaica. Actually, the GFS is a bit more robust, that it should be even more, focused across sections of St. James and Hanover again, where we see those darker blues. So this pattern is definitely favoring the northwest section of St. James, Hanover, Euro even favoring the north with those darker shades of blues and greens, but we can't rule out some rainfall as well across sections of some southern parishes. So I'm more inclined to say section of some central and western parishes in Jamaica for the afternoon. And even by around 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 6 p.m. Jamaica time, we still have the blues that represent rainfall lingering across portions of the island. GFS more robust with the rainfall surrounding the island at that time. Euro not so robust, but we do see some rainfall across the island. We'll take it. If some evening rainfall is much welcome. And we can see that both the Euro and the GFS accumulated precipitation forecast are in consensus that it's going to be raining somewhere across Jamaica tomorrow. Euro a bit more robust than the GFS as usual. Euro showing up to at least 0.64 of an inch of rainfall, more so across the east. GFS showing more so of that rainfall across the west than the east, but the east is definitely going to be getting on that rainfall, and we're indeed grateful. We're in the month of June. We usually receive up to 133.35 millimeters of rainfall during this month. We're in the secondary peak of our rainy season, so we'll take all the rainfall that we can get to put some kind of a dent in the drought that some areas were experiencing, not to mention put some kind of a hold on the heat that we've been plagued with for the past couple of months. Alright, so that is it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let us focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So we can see that we have that area of low pressure spinning its way into portions of Atlanta, Georgia, maybe Georgia, not Atlanta, so section of Florida as well. We can also see clouds associated with the upper level trough pushing from east to west. More rainfall for eastern Jamaica definitely tomorrow. clouds associated with the tropical wave that has been affecting Jamaica now off to the west. Definitely a section of Cuba and the Cayman Islands were getting nailed today. Sections of Central America still getting in on some overcast sky showers and thunderstorms. Not to mention sections of Northern South America as usual. So anywhere from French Guiana westward, Suriname, Guyana, Venezuela, Colombia, and we can see that there is a lot more where that came from associated with the intertropical convergence. So we know all of this is pushing westward. If we take a look at the Doppler radar images of the northeastern Caribbean for today, we can definitely see that as of right now, we don't have much taking place across the Leeward Islands, but we can see that there's some amount of rainfall across portions of northwestern Puerto Rico as we speak, some rainfall across sections of the eastern portion of the Dominican Republic. And if we take a look at the images from today, we can definitely see that we had some of that rainfall pushing in from the east. Definitely some rainfall across Puerto Rico, the US and British Virgin Islands definitely gotten on that rainfall as well. And if we take a look at the Barbados radar, we can see more of that rainfall coming in from the northeast than anything else. Definitely affecting sections of Barbados. Even if we zoom out, we can see some rainfall right there across sections of Grenada, section of Trinidad and Tobago getting in on the action as well. Don't see much happening across Guadeloupe, Dominica or Martinique as we speak, but that could change later on tonight. As it relates to what's going on the wider view of Doppler radar images, we can see that rainfall that sections of Cuba, the Cayman Islands had, sections of Mexico, Nicaragua, section of northwestern Venezuela, even to the waters to the north of the ABC Islands definitely gotten on some rainfall. We also see some rainfall across sections of Colombia, sections of Suriname, French Guyana. And if we take a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, we still see that we have more grays than anything else that represent average temperatures for majority of the basin, with a mixture of some yellows that represent above normal temperatures. Keep in mind that this is the forecast for 18th on Saturday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Saturday. So we're indeed grateful that it's more average than anything else rather than the way above normal temperatures, and we'll definitely take it. As relates to the Saharan dust forecast for 2 p.m. on Saturday, we do see all the birds that represent the Saharan dust stretching all the way from Africa across the main development region into the Caribbean. But we like the fact that by the time it gets into the Caribbean, it's more lighter shades of browns than anything else. That shows the low end of the scale in terms of Saharan dust. However, we do see the eastern and southeastern Caribbean getting in on those darker shades of browns. That could cause some hazy skies tomorrow 2 p.m. on Saturday. Also might be triggering some amount of respiratory illnesses in some people, so ensure that you have your meds handy. As relates to the wave forecast for tomorrow, we still see that majority of the Caribbean should be getting on those lighter shades of blues to darker shades of blues that represent anywhere from 0.5 meter wave height to 1.5 meter wave heights, and that's because the winds are going to be averaging anywhere from 10 to 20 knots at most, and we see the general direction for the winds coming in from the east. We can also make out that area of low pressure across the southwestern Gulf of Mexico that the Hurricane Center is still monitoring. Let's see if they updated it as yet. Okay, they've definitely updated it. So this is the 7:29 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and we still see that it has a medium chance of development as it pushes towards the west or the northwest across the southwestern Gulf. We can also see that that area closer to the United States has no, well, it's practically run out of time at this point. There's no way it's definitely gonna be developing at all. So if anything's gonna be coming barely, it's gonna be this system, if not the possible system that the Hurricane Center might highlight this weekend or next week from the main development region into the Caribbean. Either way, I'll definitely be here to keep you posted based on what happens. As relates to where the rainfall is going to be expected within the next 24 hours. These maps from the Euro and the GFS are showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on a Saturday. And we do see that we have some greens and yellows that represent the isolated shores, definitely for sections of Guadeloupe southward, so Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, Barbados. But we see more of an increase in the rainfall as we look southward, with those reds that represent up to 1 inch of rainfall, as you can see by the key on the right. So anywhere from Trinidad and Tobago southward, Venezuela, Guyana, Suriname, French Guyana, and even if we take a look at the Euro model, we're seeing something similar. Venezuela, Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica as well, sections of Nicaragua, El Salvador, Honduras, Guatemala, Belize, and we're pleased to announce that sections of Central America are starting to get in on less rainfall. They've been getting a lot recently, considering the Central American gyre is starting to depart. But as usual, they're getting normal rainfall. Section of Mexico getting in on the rainfall as well. Section of the Cayman Islands to get rainfall. Cuba, more rainfall. Section of Florida and the Bahamas, as well as the Turks and Caicos. Even section of Hispaniola, so Haiti, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, the US and British Virgin Islands. Maybe St. Kitts and Nevis might get in on some more rainfall. It's clear that we have the least amount of rainfall for sections of the ABC Islands and the Leeward Islands for the next 24 hours. And we know that when both maps from the EURA and the GFS are in consensus like this, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.